The second industrial revolution took place between 1860 and 1930 thanks to new materials and new technologies created by man that could further develop society. In this case, there was the transition from the use of coal to the use of oil. In fact, during the course of history there was a decline in the use of coal from 1920, but it was continuously used until 1960. Actually, it has never disappeared definitively. In fact, it still exists, but it is no longer the raw material on which our society is based. Oil takes up less space compared to coal and wood for the same amount of energy produced. It can also be put in barrels and crammed in places where there is moisture, a negative element for the two materials mentioned above. This material was initially used on the new technologies of the time, such as the internal combustion engine. In fact, cars worked thanks to gas derived from coal, before being replaced with oil. While designing it must be taken into consideration that every action corresponds to an equal and opposite relationship. I mentioned the third principle of dynamics because it can be applied to the use of oil as a fuel. It is certainly a simpler material to use, but it has numerous scraps that can be converted into usable material, such as for diesel or for the first hints of synthetic plastic, such as bakelite. During the First World War, oil became a strategic raw material that all the nations of the world wanted to control, both for the use of fuel and for the exploitation of this new material. After the Second World War, the demand for oil exploded exponentially, as many cars began to circulate around the world, increasing the demand for this new raw material. In addition, numerous scientific discoveries lead to the birth of new materials derived from petroleum. In a few years, bakelite, cellophane, PMMA, polyethylene, melamine resins, PVC, nylon, PET and many others were introduced on the market. All these new materials drastically changed the habits of society, both positively and negatively. Just think of the fact that materials used in the surgical field were born to extend human life, but at the same time the use of disposable products took hold, and this will create a huge problem on Earth. Countries that had a higher oil reserve in respect to others could accumulate greater wealth and become in effect more powerful. Just think that before the arrival of this product the main raw materials were coal, wool, iron, and wheat, and the most powerful countries were England, Germany and the United States, while after the discovery of this material, the Germany's power weakens, leaving room for new states such as the Arab Emirates. Another incredible invention that contributed to the development of industrial revolutions is lighting. The first form of gas lighting made from wood burning was installed in Paris in 1798, while the first coal gas-lit factory was the Boughton and Watt in 1802. But it was in England that coal gas lighting was most developed thanks to the abundance of this material which, when worked to produce coke, created two byproducts, tar and gas. The first lighting systems were highly expensive, and most of the families could not afford them. Consider that in 1815 London was equipped with 40 kilometers of pipelines for the transport of gas, dedicated to street lighting, and to the noble houses. In 1840 the major European cities installed a lighting and gas network, to facilitate population displacement during the night hours. The light produced by the gas, however, was totally unsuitable for the purpose, as well as being very dangerous, both for possible gas leaks and for human health. After 1850, the gas network was also used to heat houses, water, and cook food. The first form of electricity was created in 1799 by Alessandro Volta, who made it possible to obtain direct current. As you will notice, this extremely advanced technology was born 50 years before gaslighting, but due to its high costs it has remained on the sidelines, waiting for the right moment to come out. Alessandro Volta's inventions allowed to study new phenomena such as electromagnetic induction, electrolysis, and the possibility of transmitting signals along an electrical circuit. The evolution of electricity did not stop at the discovery of this Italian inventor, and in fact one of the pioneers of the sector was Thomas Alva Edison, who between 1878 and 1881 was able to solve the big problems of electricity distribution for the lighting. The incandescent light bulb, developed and evolved by Edison, completely changed the concept of lighting. Edison wasn't the first to invent the light bulb, but his product was certainly the most reliable on the market. It was suitable for all environments, the light intensity could be adjusted, it did not cause headaches or other side effects generated by gas-powered lamps. In 1886 in New York, the shop windows were electrically lit, thanks to Thomas Edison's light bulbs. It was an epochal event, because for the first time the population could observe an entire street brightly lit thanks to a new technology. It was a real revolution, an event that completely changed the way of observing the world. Edison initially used direct current, which was safer but at the same time had very strong limits, such as the fact that it could only be transported to a maximum distance of 1.5 kilometers, beyond which it lost intensity. Over the years, the American inventor realized that it was necessary to switch to alternating current to cover long distances. If you are interested in this subject, there is a magnificent movie about Thomas Edison and George Westinghouse who worked to further develop this invention. The new technology quickly took hold. The advantages were obvious, and the energy could be produced from different primary sources and through different types of converters. Countries that did not have large coal deposits such as Canada, Italy, Switzerland, and Japan experienced an extraordinary boost to industrial growth given the possibility of obtaining electricity from water basins of which they are rich. Electrification profoundly changed the functioning of factories, which became more efficient. Before electricity, these worked with a single motor that rotated thanks to gas, coal, and wood energy with pulleys attached to it, that were used to transmit movement to all the machinery in the factory. With the advent of the electricity, each machinery was attached to the cables independently. Before, if the central engine broke, the whole company stopped. While now if one machine broke down, all the others worked. Between 1901 and 1914, electrification was very rapid. As a consequence, the GDP of Germany grew by 9 times and England's GDP by 15 times, although in reality only half of the factories were electrified. Large companies were born at that time, some of which are still present today, such as Siemens, AEG, General Electric, and Westinghouse. The largest manufacturer of electrical devices was Germany with 30% of the global market, followed by the United States with 30% and England with 16%. That's all. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or subscribe to the channel if you wish to see other content related to the world of design. See you next time. Bye.